Hi, this is Mara Velasic, one of your instructional technology coaches. Today I'm going to give you some tips and suggestions for hosting a Zoom meeting. We're going to host this meeting from the desktop app of Zoom. So if you haven't downloaded the desktop app, I encourage you to do so from the Zoom website, zoom.us. Once you've downloaded the desktop app, we're going to start a meeting from here. So I'm going to click this video icon to start a new meeting. If you are hosting a meeting, we strongly suggest that you log into that meeting a few minutes before it's about to start, just to double check your settings for your meeting before participants start entering that meeting. If I click this video icon, it's going to open up my webcam, and here I can test my audio and my video settings. If I want to test the speaker and the microphone, I can click this link right here, and it will run you through just a couple things to test that your speaker and your microphone are working, and then I'm going to join with my computer audio. So I am now in this meeting. I'm the only one in the meeting, and I am the host of the meeting. I'm going to walk you through a few settings on the toolbar down here before we have anyone join our meeting. Down on the bottom left corner are my video and audio settings. So here's my microphone. If I need to change any of my audio settings, I can do that here. I can also mute my microphone by clicking on it and unclicking it to unmute. Same thing with video. If I want to change any of my video settings here, I can do that. I can also stop my video and then start my video again by clicking on it. At the bottom of the screen is where you can invite people to your Zoom meeting. If you've scheduled this and it's in a Google Calendar invite or it's posted on Canvas or Google Classroom, they can use that link to join this meeting. If you want to invite people directly from inside the meeting, you can do that by clicking the invite button and then copying the URL right here. Then you can send that URL to anyone that you'd like to invite to the meeting. You can also copy the invitation, which has more information than just the direct link. Down here, I can manage my participants. So this is where we're going to look at some settings before our meeting starts. If I click Manage Participants, it's going to give me all of the participants in this meeting, and they'll show up on this right-hand side. Currently, I'm the only participant in my meeting. If I hover over any participant, I can mute them. I can also rename them if I'd like to. Once there are more participants in this meeting, they will show up in a list right here. But if we scroll down here, here's some settings that are important as the host of this meeting. As the host, I can choose to mute all participants except for me. I can also choose to unmute all participants except for me. This is important when you have a large number of participants in your meeting to be able to mute them or unmute them depending on what's happening in your meeting. If I click More, I have some more options here. I can mute participants on entry. What this will do is that any participant entering the meeting will automatically be muted. You can allow them to unmute themselves by having this box checked. That really helps when you get your meeting started if anyone joins late, or if participants are setting up their audio and their video connection. It helps remove that background noise, especially if the meeting has already started or there's already discussion happening. Again, under that More button, you can allow participants to unmute themselves, you can allow participants to rename themselves, and you can play an enter and exit chime. When someone joins the meeting, all participants will hear a chime that signals that someone has joined. There's another chime for when people leave. If you want to turn that off, you can. And you can also lock the meeting. What that will do is it will not allow any new participants to join the meeting once you have locked it. So those are our settings under participants. If we go back to our main toolbar right here, a couple other things I want to talk about is the chat. If we click on the chat, this will open up our Zoom group chat. So while you're having this video meeting, there's also the option to have a chat open. This chat has some settings that are important for you as the host to choose. We're going to click these three dots right here, and these are our participant chat settings. So participants can chat with no one, the host only, everyone publicly, or everyone publicly and privately. As the participant, you get to decide how, or as the host, you get to decide how participants participate with the chat. If you do not want them to use the chat, you can click no one. If you want participants to only be able to use the chat to ask you questions or communicate directly with you, you can do the host only. You can choose that everyone can chat publicly, so that means every participant can add messages to the chat as the meeting continues, or you can have everyone publicly be able to access the chat, but then also be able to send private messages to participants in the meeting. So if I wanted to message someone directly, I can choose that. Under this Everyone tab, all of the participant names will show up here, and then I could send a message privately. That is up to the host to decide how participants are able to interact with the chat, and this is a setting that you can set before participants join your meeting. A few other things on this toolbar down here is that you have this record button. Before you start the meeting, when you set up or schedule the meeting, you can check a box that says to record this meeting. If you didn't check that box, you can always start recording here. You have two choices to record. You can record on the computer or to the cloud. We recommend recording to the cloud so that your computer doesn't get a lot of memory used by these video recordings. When you record a Zoom meeting, it records both a video file and an audio file. So you have both options. Those are stored on the Zoom website under recordings, so you can always go back and see those recordings. So we strongly suggest to record to the cloud. Another option that all participants have in the meeting is reactions. These are just two reactions that they can do, either a clap or a thumbs up. If they click on that, it will show up in the upper left corner of their video window. This is a great way to get some quick feedback from participants, especially if you have all of their mics muted. Another thing that we suggest is that you set some Zoom meeting norms with your participants and also an agenda for the meeting. An easy way to do this would be through a Google Doc that you share the link in the chat, or you can share your screen and show that Google Doc with your participants. So here's an example of Zoom meeting norms. Having all participants mute their audio when they're not speaking, being cognizant of turning off background noise during our meeting, using the chat for shared links and not side conversations, and asking questions to come back to in the chat box. This would also be a great place to have an agenda for your meeting so that all participants can easily follow along and know how this meeting is going to be structured, just like a face-to-face meeting. Once you have more participants in your meeting, hi, James. There's a few other things that you can do. Under Manage Participants, I could choose a participant like James to be the host. So if I need to leave a meeting or I want to turn the meeting over for someone else, I can click here, Make a Host, and that would make James the host of the meeting. When you have lots of participants in your meeting, there's a couple different views that you can select. In the upper right corner, there's Speaker View. And what this will do is it will change your camera or your view to the person that is speaking. One more thing that's important is when you end your meeting, you're going to click this End Meeting button in the bottom left. And then you can keep this meeting running. You have to assign a host. So if I wanted the meeting to continue after I leave, I can assign James as the host, and then he would be in charge of the meeting. I can leave the meeting here, or I can end the meeting for all. If I click End the Meeting for All, that will end our meeting and all participants will be removed. And that would take you back to the home screen of the Zoom desktop app. If you have any other questions about being a host or hosting a meeting, please reach out to your instructional technology coach and they'd be happy to help you with that. Thanks!